Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom in the Best Books and Films, where we find bite sized bits of truth that will help us to reach our divine potential. I'm Jake Bear, the host, and this week I'm excited to share with you all a thought that is from That Hideous Strength, which is actually book 3 in a trilogy by C.S. Lewis. It is his science fiction trilogy. I believe it is just called the Space Trilogy. The first book is Out of the Silent Planet. The second book is Paralandra, and the third book is That Hideous Strength. I would, however, recommend that if you read the series, you start the series with That Hideous Strength, because although it is book 3 in the timeline, it is, I think, a faster, more fun read, and it is good as a standalone book. The characters from the first two books are really just side characters in That Hideous Strength. So there's nothing you would be missing out by just reading it first. Now, I did like the first two books, but they are a little more philosophical in nature, so if you enjoy that, I would recommend you read the third one first, then go back and read books 1 and 2. I enjoy reading stuff that has a little bit more philosophy in it. Paralandra is basically C.S. Lewis's take on what the Garden of Eden might have been like if Adam and Eve hadn't taken the fruit. And Out of the Silent Planet is an interesting one where the guy goes to Mars and has some interactions with people that are more in touch with God than we are here on Earth. They can hear God more easily. But this week we're talking about That Hideous Strength, which is all on Earth, and it is fantastic, and I highly recommend it. So we are going to talk about Choose This Day is the title of this week's episode. Choose This Day. In his great work, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey wrote about the importance of using first principles as our guide in life's decisions. First principles, as he used the term, are core truths used as a foundation to direct our course through any variety of situations. Many of us would say we have some set of moral principles which are more important to us than immediate pleasure or happiness. Yet we all fall short of those principles. In the moment, it is easy to be short-sighted and seek instant gratification, even if it could potentially cause pain in ourselves or those we love in some cases. C.S. Lewis created a character who wonderfully represents these tendencies in all of us to rely on our own immediate desires to find joy and happiness in his science fiction novel, That Hideous Strength. Mark Studdock receives a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work with the elites in the National Institute for Cooperative Experiments. NICE, NICE. And he desperately wants to fit in. NICE is obviously a good group. Everyone says they are pushing for great things. I mean, they are called NICE, for crying out loud. The club starts by asking him to complete mundane tasks, and he longs for something grander. They trickle work his way slowly at first, making him feel that he is being accepted into their network of good and important people. But eventually, as he feels he is becoming an established part of the group, they ask him to commit an obvious crime. Quote, "This was the first thing Mark had been asked to do, which he himself, before he did it, clearly knew to be criminal. But the moment of his consent almost escaped his notice. Certainly there was no struggle, no sense of turning a corner. There may have been a time in the world's history when such moments fully revealed their gravity. But for him, it all slipped past in a chatter of laughter, of that intimate laughter between fellow professionals, which of all earthly powers is strongest to make men do very bad things before they are yet, individually, very bad men." End quote. Mark, if asked, would have said he was trying to provide his wife a comfortable living situation when he first joined this group. He thought to himself that this group had a worthy cause, and he would be helping the world be a better place. But these thoughts and excuses were really nothing more than a thin veil over his immediate desires to fit in with the crowd. He did not have fixed in his mind true principles, and so was led a little at a time by his peers into an ends justify the means mentality, lying to his wife and himself and others to achieve his supposedly good goals. A well-known and oft-quoted scripture in Joshua 24:25 says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Our time to choose who or what we will serve is now, before the laughter of friends and acquaintances and strangers pulls us into doing very bad things when we are not yet very bad men. Did you enjoy this week's episode of Wisdom in the Best Books and Films? If so, I would ask you to please go and share with anyone that you can think of who may benefit from these topics. Discuss it at work, with friends, at church, anywhere where the opportunity feels natural and the topics would be helpful to others. I personally am not a huge self-promoter, and so the only way that this podcast will get to reach very many people at all is through the listeners. Please also share with me if anything that you've heard has been impactful in your life, or share with me any ideas that you may have of wisdom that you've gleaned from different books or films. Be happy to hear from you anytime, and I will respond to all emails. You can find information for how to contact me in the show notes. Hope to hear from you soon.